Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Devotions. Pastor Steve here walking with you in the Giving Challenge, and we are on day 8. And day 8's title is a convicting, a pursuing, a beautiful revelation to us, because we just need to keep it in front of us, and that is the lie of more. The lie of more. This week we're actually trading comfort for contentment, and day 8 really pushes us right on. Hopefully you've done the challenges of day 6 where you kind of scope through where are you within contentment. And yesterday, as we get to see the challenge of day 7, it's look to Jesus day, right? And being able to read those scriptures and being able to see how you continually look to Jesus, because we need to be in his word. We need to be in his community. We need to actually expose the lie of more and replace it, the lie of more, with the truth that with Jesus and in Jesus, I can be content. I can be happy. Happy in that emotion and that feeling, that comfort, as what we would be pushed to believe, is that I need more. That I don't have enough. That it's about what I want, right? That acronym that the marketing always gets to you, right? But what's in it for me? And the lie of more will continue to steal. It will kill. It will destroy contentment, joy, happiness. Because as we come to this truth, let's replace this lie, right? The lie of more with this truth. With Jesus and in Jesus, I am content. In the grace and everything that he's given to me, I am content. His grace is sufficient for me. Now, you might be warring against this, and this is what the lie does, right? Of being able to say, just continues to pursue us, and being able to say, that's not true. That's not true. That his grace is sufficient. That with Jesus is pure contentment. That I can just be satisfied and happy, because we've been warring against this, and the evil one puts this ploy out into our world that actually beckons to us of being able to say, well, that's not fully true. You need to live. You need to, let me say this truth again, with Jesus and in Jesus is contentment. There's great comfort also in Jesus and with Jesus, but contentment means I trust him. I know him. I know what he has done for me, and I know what he will do for me. And it isn't necessarily just all about salvation, but he has actually placed me back into the relationship with the Creator that knows my needs and well provides. So again, hear this truth. With Jesus and in Jesus is full life and full contentment. And that's what day 8 really actually pushes you and challenges you in. The lie of more. And when people have been trapped in that, or maybe you've felt trapped in that, or maybe you are trapped in that, I just don't have enough for this life to be happy and content. There'll never be enough, right? You can turn to page 58. Great scripture here. Ecclesiastes 5, the guy who had it all. Solomon, wisdom, riches, everything, right? Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless, because you're running after the more. You're running after discontentment, to be very honest with you. And Paul writes to Timothy, a young pastor, of being able to just put him into this place of contentment. And he says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. And so how do I actually live in joy and happiness and contentment in this life? The scriptures actually give us the point. It gives us the path. It gives us the option. And that is with Jesus. In his grace, in his provision, in his life. Well, how do I get into the life of Jesus? You've been brought into the life of Jesus through your baptism, right? He's killed our old self, our old Adam, and brought us to new life. Now it's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And in Christ and with Christ, there is full life and there is full contentment. I mean, people have tried this, and I love just reading again on page 58 there, where it speaks to people, real life people. Okay, Solomon and Paul, of course, they're in the scriptures. They get it, right? But also take a look at John D. Rockefeller and his statement when he was asked one time, reportedly, someone asked him, how much money is enough money? He was the top wage earner in his time. And his answer was, just a little bit more. I sat at a breakfast with Wayne Huizenga Jr., right? And all that took place within his life. And as Christ pursued him, right? It was actually a turn. I'm going to put that great video in the description here. You can take a look at that. And his testimony was, I just never had enough. Even though I absolutely had enough. Not even relative, but I had everything in my life that could make me happy or should make me happy. It never did. It was just a little bit more. Never content with what I had or what I have. And that's the lie. And that's what world will give to you. And so at the bottom of 58, Zach pushes us in being able to say, if the world is actually pursuing us in the lie and over and over and over again, and it actually wants to speak that loudly into our life, the lie of more, that you can't be content. Don't sit back, that you just can't be full in life without having what selfishly we want all the time. Here's the option that Jesus offers, right? John chapter 10. Everything you need, you already have in Jesus, in him. Because he said in John 10, I have come to that they may have life and have it to the full. Now I want you to hear this in the full context, right? I want you to hear this in the full context of John chapter 10. You may know it pretty well. It's the Good Shepherd passage. But it goes all over, and it's talking about how people are in the pen. People are in his protection. He's the Good Shepherd. He's going to lay down his life, as we talked about yesterday in day 7. Right? With Jesus is actually that full grace that extends to you. In Jesus is protection. In Jesus is direction. In Jesus is actually a life and a life to the full. Without Jesus, or what does the world pursue us in? John chapter 10 puts that right before that statement. So I want to read to you John chapter 10, beginning at verse 7. It says this, as he's speaking to, yes, the Good Shepherd. But therefore Jesus said again, I tell you the truth, I am the gate for the sheep. All who ever came before me were thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. He will come in and go out and find pasture, meaning he will be provided for. You don't have to question Jesus' provision when he's the Good Shepherd. You don't have to question if you have or don't have of what his salvation is or what his grace is or his protection and provision. In Jesus, you can be content. And then he goes on. He says, verse 10, the thief, the other, kind of the world, instead of with me, right? The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And this is that steal, kill, and destroy, as I said before, especially within contentment. The world will say, you never have enough. It wants you to believe the lie of more because it's in it for them, and it's also touching your natural selfishness. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Wants to steal, kill, and destroy the truth that with Jesus and in Jesus there is contentment. But Jesus says, I have come, this great contrast, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. You know, Paul picked this up, and I just want to close with this because it's not in today's challenge. And I was looking further into the days as I've gone over this challenge already, being able to just put this in front because we're trading comfort, our selfishness, comfort of what money and resources do to us, with contentment and the truth that with Jesus and in Jesus, there is contentment in his grace, but also in his provision. I don't need more in my life to make me happy or joyful. I have Jesus. Paul wrote to the Philippians, a generous and frankly wealthy congregation, and being able to actually surround them of how he's living and what he's walking through in his circumstances. Listen to this, Philippians chapter 4. It says, I rejoice greatly in the Lord that at last you have renewed your concern for me. Indeed, you have been concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. I'm not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. What is the secret? What is the secret to being content? What is the secret that Paul is wanting to communicate to the church? One of the great popular verses out there, right? It says this, I can do everything in him, through Jesus, who gives me strength. That great context of Philippians 4. I know the secret of being content, whether well-fed or hungry, whether I have the things of this world or I don't. What is contentment? It's living in life with Jesus and in Jesus. Jesus came, the good shepherd, brought us into his pen, brought us into his fold to be able to speak truth to us and debunk and war against the lie of more. In Jesus, you can be content. In Jesus, you don't need more. Rather, you are full, and you have a life full of his grace and mercy, full of his provision, what you need in this life. And so as that battle goes on and pursues us today in day 8, what a great challenge we have before us. And the challenge is on page 59, day 8. It is track your money day. It's getting into the detail, into the specifics and pointed. Track your money day. Track your monthly spending on entertainment during the last month. And so he gives you a bunch of examples and categories, right, to read through and being able to actually look back, and whether it be your bank account or your credit card expenditures, right? And then being able to actually write them out. It has a little chart there. Write them out. Maybe you need, hopefully not, but maybe you need a bigger list. But you need to be confronted with being able to say what you actually spend on. Track your money. And then answering these questions. What patterns do you notice in your entertainment spending? Does your entertainment spending align with your values and financial priorities? And if needed to reduce entertainment spending by 10 to 20%, where would you start? It's actually challenging us to be able to take a look at where we're investing, of where we're doing more, and being able to perhaps cut that back a little bit, because it's feeding maybe what makes us feel content. And we're switching that, trading that comfort into contentment in Jesus. And maybe if you cut that back, as it says here, what does it look like to spend it more? And challenge us to be able to actually go further into giving and generous towards others. Thanks for hanging with me. A little bit longer of a video today, but it is true. I want you to battle again. Let's put this in day 8. Here's that great challenge. Fight against the lie of more, that the world is actually pursuing you, and replace it. Jesus replaces it with this truth. In Jesus and with Jesus, there is true contentment in a full life. To that we can say, thanks be to God. Have a blessed day.